And let's also have Justin Gong from XAG. Justin, please take your seat. Thank you. Yeah, I would like to start our conversation today with everyone. Maybe you can just make a brief introduction of yourself, 1 minute, very brief pitch for our participants, especially because all of you have a different role, different business currently, and somehow are already connected to Latin America or have past experience with that. So maybe Justin, we can start with you.
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Justin Gong. I'm the co-founder of XAG, an agriculture technology company based in Guangzhou, China. We make drones, robots, tractor autopilot system for farmers. In the past 17 years, we've been developing the smart agriculture solutions, and we have growing business in Latin America. That's why I'm here today. Thank you.
Okay, and I know Latin America is your second biggest market, right?
Yeah, outside China, Brazil is our single largest overseas market.
Okay,
yes.
Thank you. Shaoming?
Hola. Sorry, hola. My name is Shaoming Yang, and I'm working for DingDong Fresh. For those living in China, you must know DingDong. It's a fresh food company, and if you're not in China, maybe you haven't heard of it. But we are the inventor of dark store model, which is quite popular globally. And we want to export our dark store model to help the e-grocery retailers globally. Thank you.
Sean?
Hi, I'm Sean from Acacia Venture Partner. We 50% our portfolio is already in Latam. So we didn't intend to start with that, but somehow the company Parts of Bar is already in Latam. So we are very interested in this market.
Good. And let's start with you, Sean. And as you're calling the geographic arbitrage, right? And essentially, maybe now we're talking about Chinese model going overseas and or inspiring overseas companies. What's the essence of the Chinese model, if there's any we can talk of? If it's the mindset, business model, how we can package that, how people can understand?
Yeah, so basically we look into kind of the timeline, right? In China, in 2003, you've got Taobao. And then to serve that e-commerce platform, you've got logistics, like Shunfeng, you got Zhongtong, those logistics. Then you got the payments. We see the similar pattern in Latam. It's a lag market. So we invest in Rappi. We invest in 99 Minutos, which is a logistic company. And later on, then we see the social commerce, like Pinduoduo. So we invest in Elena's. And we are looking for sort of like similar patterns, but with a local knowledge. Because let me give you an example. When people invest in Pinduoduo, right, it's more like a group buy activity. But in Latam, for Elena's, their seller is basically women, right, who just that the platform source products, then the seller pick the products, so they sell. But that is different from Pinduoduo. So that element is what we are interested. We are looking for the company who can copy the model, but not exactly the model, with the local knowledge to localize that. Right?
Mm-hmm. Good. Well, Shaoming, Sean mentioned Taobao, right? And in your past experience, you was one of the responsible for Tmall and AliExpress. Yes. I was joking in the backstage that you were one of the responsibles for Brazilians spending a lot of money in AliExpress, right? So okay. Tell us, AliExpress was based in Taobao or not? And what was the adaptation that you needed in a big company to enter different markets?
Actually, I would say, to be honest, in Alibaba, we never really at that stage, we never do a comprehensive analysis, because AliExpress is more like a product-driven, seller-driven platform. So we have so many cost-effective and diversified and and abundance of products. So, and who buy? And where are they? And why they buy? We don't know. And we don't care that much. So that was many years ago. I would say 10, 12 years ago. But now, after so many years, things changed. So we cannot do that seller-driven, pure seller-driven model anymore. That's why many people change their model. And we need to go to the local market, understand what people want, and understand how the competition and everything. Then we can enter the market more successfully. That age already passed.
Yeah, and also taking the cue here from Shaoming, Justin. Shaoming mentioned that in the past, just sell, you can operate overseas. In your case, you need to understand the local market, right? Each farm is different. Each agriculture is different. So how do you do that? How actually did it start for you, and how evolved over time from XAG?
Okay, so we didn't actually, explore proactively by ourselves, but actually we found a lot of interest in asking if we could export our drones and robots to the Latin American market. I remember the very first customer was growing marijuana because they don't trust the people to take care of the plants. People are stealing the marijuana in the plantation, and then asking if we have drones to monitor that. And later on, we said, we only have drones to spray the chemicals like crop dusting and the fertilizing. So they start buying our drones. And later on, we found out there are a lot of big fruit and corn farms in Brazil, in Latin America region, and they want the autonomous machine, just like in China. Because during the past 10 years in Latin America, also all the young generations moving to the city. The farmers couldn't find people to work in the farm, not even in Mexico. So they need the same thing. It's in common with China. They need the robots and autonomous machine. So we're actually looking for the common thing, not just only localized. But later on, we found out, okay, we have to localize because every farm operation is very different type of crop, different climate, and a different culture. Yeah, so it's been 10 years since we.
But how do you learn the differences or the specifics from each market? Do you have a local team that go there, or do you rely on distributors? How does it work?
Partners. You have to have partners, especially in agriculture, right? Because if you are new, the farmer won't trust you at all. You have to be there, have the local presence. For example, in Thailand, we're working together with CP Group. They are the biggest company in Thailand. In Brazil, we're working with the local farmers, unions. They know the farmers. So I think partners is really, really important in terms of agriculture industry.
I think we have a big delegation coming from Latam. Most of them are coming from the first time to Macau, of course, but including Asia. So they're always very surprised. But thinking back maybe 10 years ago or even before, when was the moment, or is there a moment that we can say was the transition from China was copying to copy from China? Is there a moment that we can identify, or are there one factor or a lot of scenarios? Maybe Sean can tell us when you see the analysis and when you decide maybe one model can be replicated.
Yes, from investment perspective, right? I think previously you got Didi that's copied from Uber, right? And different models. Then when we invest in different companies, then we realize at some point the companies claim that they are their local version of Pinduoduo. That changed kind of the perspective, right? And we realize because you have the Amazon, which targets maybe middle class clients, right? Consumers. Then Pinduoduo actually, what they do really brilliantly is to target the consumer in countryside, in kind of lower tier cities, right? And in terms of their path, the product sourcing, they start with kind of a white labeled products. Because if you consider that, if we middle class, sometimes we mock those products, right? But if you go to the countryside, it's upgrade. It's not like because you're competing with a bar of soaps, right? And then the shampoo from Procter and Gamble doesn't really kind of kick off with them. So that is kind of the innovation part of China model. And we also would like to see that in Latam. So that's kind of my moment of seeing the change from copy from the Western developed country actually to kind of we innovate ourselves. Yeah.
Interesting. And Shaoming, what's you live it actually, right? This transition. How do you see that?
It's a good question. If we go back to the history a little bit further, 25 years ago, when I worked for Huawei, I was the first person, or I led the first team to export our products to the other countries. Our first country was Singapore Telecom. And at that time, the first stage was a product. We have so many products, high quality, low price, please buy. And the second stage would be brand. So we have Hsieh or Lenovo or this TCL, these brands. So yeah, we have so many brands, so please buy. And that was in the year of 2010. And in 2010 to 2020, especially after 2015, more and more Chinese companies started to export the business models. And also the center of innovation, business innovation, transferred from the US to China. When I first do e-commerce 17 years ago, 18 years ago, we always talk about what's modern in the US. Okay, let's copy this, let's copy that. But now, more and more people, they are thinking about how to copy from China. And comparing with US, copying from US, I think there are 3 advantages that it would be more attractive to copy from China. First one is China is a developing country, just like South America, Latin. We are not like the US or Europe Union, right? So it's economy is similar stage. And second is we have our model is more advanced because of the new technology and new companies. So it's more than before. And the last one is about people, because the Chinese guys, we are more, how to say, hardworking, rather than the guys from Europe. Okay, maybe 1 week, 3 days sleep, and 2 day go to party and 2 day work. But for the Chinese, work day and night, and so that makes the Chinese copy more easy, successful.
Justin, do you have a take on this?
Yes, I think the term smart agriculture or precision agriculture comes from the US in the 1980s, where when farmers and the people think about reducing the chemical use, right, and doing precision cultivation and stuff, but did not really happen because the US business model for the farm are big ones. But in China, it's really different. We have a lot of different climate zones, smallholders, very similar to the Latin America and Southeast Asia. So when this smart agriculture happened in China, it is very, very different from the US model or the European model. They can spend millions of dollars buying John Deere tractors with autonomous driving functions, everything. But the Chinese farmers couldn't afford that. So we have to come up with a smart, intelligent, low cost, and versatile robot or drones to be able to meet the farmers' needs. And also the local young entrepreneurs in the village can afford that and provide the services using our drones. And once that happens, the tipping point comes. The tipping point actually comes after the COVID-19 and the war between Russia and Ukraine, because every country is thinking about food security. Before they can export, import, and now every country wants to produce food by their own, but they don't have enough labor. So that's the tipping point, and we find out every country now needs smart agriculture because no one wants to work in the farmland.
Yeah, this is interesting because still in the recent past, when we talk about China, we talking about Chinese products, right? It was already exported. We see the products worldwide, but not the companies, right? And now with the companies going, there are other layers, other variables in this. For example, for you, Justin, when you see your products specifically, because you have hardware in this, and do you have different models that you can need to adjust, adapt to each market? Because not only about the hardware itself, right?
Yeah. Not about hardware, because as we talked, all the farms have different scenarios, and also the culture is very different. The farmers are not easy to trust the people. For example, I have two examples. One is in the UK. We are the first and only one who are able to operate drones spray chemicals from the sky. But to win that certification from the government, we spent 5 years. You have to work with local universities, large of institutions, research parties, and to get that. But in Latin America, it's a different story. You work with the local biggest farm or biggest farming equipment company, you can be there the second day. So that's very, very, very different. So we choose different approach in different regions.
Shaoming mentioned culture, and what's the importance of the culture when you analyze one model that was successful in China or in Asia in general, and you want to replicate or make the implementation in other geographies? How do you analyze that?
I think the culture in Latam is more similar to Chinese culture than the Western culture. So if you look at the influencer market, right, live shopping, if you go to any Western country, developed country, you work with KOL, they may see that as sell themselves out, right? And if you go to the YouTube, right, the channel, what they sell on the YouTube is maybe T-shirts. All their activity is to maintain their fans. So they use a different model. And in China, we are more inclined to accept that selling activity on the channel. So in that sense, I think these two markets are not diversely different. Yeah.
And what's the next model that you're looking in China that you think will be successful in other geographies?
I think fintech. Yeah, fintech. Because the thing is, if you look at the e-commerce, right? E-commerce later on, that will be the logistics. Then later on, to serve that, you have the payments. You have to have return of goods. So fintech is kind of the next thing. Yeah.
But fintech's very broad.
Yeah, the payments.
Payments.
Basically, the payment methods, how to, because I understand that a lot of people in Latam still unbanked. So there are different ways to make the payments to serve those unbanked people and to serve the market. So these are the main theme we are looking at.
Mm-hmm. And another question, you mentioned Pinduoduo, right? And how to deal when Pinduoduo goes to, and you're replicating their model, and let's say the creator of the model also go there. How do you compete?
We usually invest in the infrastructure. So if that's highly competitive at the e-commerce level, we go for the infrastructure like logistics, returns, payments. That's why we interested in the fintech. So we are trying to expand our deal source in. We already have a lot of deal in Spanish-speaking countries, but we try to expand that in Portuguese-speaking countries, right?
And Shaoming, you mentioned the dark store model, right? Dark store is a physical space, and it demands a lot of capital, having assets, right? And how do you think about the expansion internationally? And you will replicate the model, you will look into local partners. What's the thought about this?
A good question. I think talking about copy from China, actually the dark store model, which I just mentioned of the model of DingDong, I don't know how many of you guys know this model, dark store. If you know it, please raise your hand.
Dark store?
Okay. Anyone know this model? Okay.
Maybe
Not
because
really.
it's the backstage, so people
Okay.
don't know that,
Okay.
right?
No worries. I will shortly introduce. So this model is to open a store in every compound, residential area. But this store, they don't sell any products. It's a warehouse. So in case people want to buy anything from their mobile phone, and within very short of time, maybe 15 minutes, maybe 30 minutes, the products will be pick and packed from the dark store and then delivered to the home of the customer. So this is called dark store. And DingDong, my company, we invented this model 7 years ago, 2017. And then now many, many companies globally, including retailers, e-commerce, internet, they are copying this model. But most companies, they only know this concept and do what they know on the table. It's because the model is very easy, right? As just use 2 minutes to introduce, and you know how to do it. But in the backstage, in the kitchen, how to cook, people don't know. Just like Kung Pao chicken is very delicious on the table, but how to cook it, open kitchen, in the back kitchen, they don't know. And that's why here's a gap. So how we can, so this is what I want to do, is to help to enable our partners to know how to cook the Kung Pao chicken. So I'm going, my next step is I want to open an online course. Sorry, not online course. It's an offline course to invite our partners to visit our headquarters in Shanghai, and then to study, to see how we run the business, how to run dark store, how to run the warehouse, how we run the IT system, the algorithm, and everything, so that we can help people to grow their business. And when our partners get successful, we can be successful. Givers gain. So that's my strategy.
Shaoming, let me give you a tip. We have
Thank you.
in our delegation one of the best guys in education in Brazil. So you can have him being your partner there, okay? And
Awesome. Obrigado.
so, yeah, but let me go deeper on this. You mentioned the model, right? And it's easy to replicate. And, but how do you prevent them, or do you think that it's possible to stop them to do, then make the mistakes and then come back to you to say, I need to learn from the creator? Because all of them will try, say, it's too easy, I can do that myself, right?
Yes, let's put it this way. Globally, I would say there are at least 100 companies copying this model, at least. But as far as I know, only DingDong is profitable. So, and why it is profitable and how we do it. So this is something that definitely will be interesting to the rest of the companies. And we are also willing to open it because we already invested so much money and time and effort to this business. If we close the door, only we know it, for the society, for the whole world, there's no benefit. Only benefit one company. And if we open the kitchen, then the whole world will be benefit. Will be beneficial. Yeah.
Yeah, Justin, do you have other competitors that are doing your model in other markets, and how do you deal with that?
Currently, in each product, yes. For example, in drone business, DJI is the biggest drone maker worldwide. They also have spray drones. Like John Deere, Case New Holland, they also produce automatic tractor, controllers and stuff. So in each sector, yes, we do. Irrigation system, yes. but no one's ever actually combining all those IoT, navigation, robots, drones together as a smart agriculture solution. We are providing the entire solution. For example, in China, we have customers like Beida Huang Group, Shanghai Guangming Group, like Sunkist US. So we actually approach them in the whole system rather than just one product. And just like Apple, the system, the ecosystem makes it every bit of the product worth more than that. So add-on values are our competitiveness compared with our competitors.
Okay, I have one question for the three of you. We're talking about copying the model, right? And how do you, as a market, as a country, as a population, I don't know, can create this mindset of being the innovative? Or what's the difference of the Chinese innovation? I think maybe that's the important question. Is it a different innovation from the US, from Europe, and why is it different? Maybe you can start with Sean.
Yes, I think it's the depth of local expertise and knowledge. You can copy a model, but in the end, you always win out with the local expertise. You have to make adjustments. It's not a simple copy. So, and also hope, right? In Latin America, maybe in a few years' time, you will be the leader of some kind of innovation, right? Not a copy from the Western kind of developed markets, not from China. You have your own unique innovation there. So that's what my opinion is.
And you?
In my opinion, although we talked a lot about copy from China, but it doesn't necessarily mean that China is so advanced, it's best country of the world. No, it is not. The reason is China, let's say e-commerce, the reason was the traditional retail channel was not advanced, was not good enough. Then like leapfrog, the e-commerce changed the whole country dramatically. That was the reason. And so to answer your question, I think the key of this is people, because we are in such, on one hand, economy grow very fast. In the past 40 years, China GDP per capita increased 200 times. But on the other hand, there are so many things not good enough. So so people want to make more money, and they have more money, but the system is not good enough. Then this incubated a lot of innovation. So I think that's a key.
Justin?
I think I like the word uncertainties. I love diversity and uncertainty. I think the business model generated in the past, everyone wants to be certain, and especially the capital, right? But today, as we are embracing uncertainties, we also entering the new era of business and investment and development, innovation. So as we are, China is a big country, we have so many differences, and uncertainties are very common in our life. So if we can grow in China, we can embrace the uncertainties and we can be ready for the future.
Well, this is the topic of this edition, right? The uncertainty, embracing. And I think from what I understand, what you're just saying, probably it's not only about copy from China, but cooperate with China. And I think this is specifically one of the reasons we're here, not only China, but Asia in general, and not only Brazil, but Latin America, the whole market. And do you see, from what you know from Latin America, do you see models coming out from Latin America that can be replicated in other countries, or maybe even in Brazil, or sorry, even in Asia? Have you seen something interesting, or maybe from your experience, something that you learned and you say, wow, this is different, let's take to our home market? Do you have that experience?
I think we are still new in the market,
Okay.
but something we found different, it's just like the social commerce. That's different because you have different population, right? That changed the business model. Like I just mentioned that Elena's, right? their seller are women, right? So they empower women with tools to make a living. That is different from the social commerce in China. So we think that would be something interesting. Maybe we go to another market that seems the same culture, same social structure. That might be something they can apply to. So yeah, that's what we see.
Shaoming?
Yes, of course, the world is huge and there are so many different models. I'm not very familiar with Latin America yet, but from other countries, let's say I worked in Poland for some years. And Poland, there's a very good fintech called Blink. So it's an online payment and with generates a code and you can use this code to do online purchase without SMS, without internet. So I think that's a brilliant invention. So I trust there are so many things that we can, as a Chinese company, we can learn from the world.
And Justin?
I've currently been traveling a lot in Southeast Asia and Latin American countries. I see the difference between the Latin farmers and the Chinese farmers. The Latin farmers more enjoy their life than the Chinese farmers. They're happy to be a farmer. They have really, really big families. And we're trying to import that model to China.
Okay, yeah, mindset, right? Lifestyle. I think this is part of life, right? We're not talking about only work, but also
Family
the
first.
family,
Yeah, the philosophy.
the balance of life, right?
Yes.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to copy one of the questions from the previous panel. Do you have a question or something that you want to learn more about Latin America? I'm not going to answer. I'll leave the question open and maybe someone from our delegation and eventually can change something open to the three of us. If you have, just say it. If you don't know, but we can learn later. If some of you have, just pop the question and maybe someone from the delegation can explain or we need to find out ourselves.
Maybe I'll go first.
Yeah.
I always urge more people to look back to our farms, to go back to the farms, have a look. It is a huge opportunity in the farmland. It's actually a new business. We've been doing farming, agriculture for more than 10,000 years as human beings, but we never actually looked back to see agriculture has a huge potential in terms of investment, business models, and technologies. And we all need to eat. As the real estate industry, everything is not so popular now to the young generations. Video games, maybe AI, yes, but to be a farmer can be really, really fun and proud of. So yes, you can invest in the agriculture, please, and invest your life.
We have several investors in the group.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Shaoming?
Let me share with you some data of our business. So the traditional fresh food business from farm to wholesaler, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, and then go to a wide market and then to the consumer. The loss rate in China was about 50%, 50. And in DingDong, we digitalized all the process and use a computer and algorithm to control it. And by doing so, we successfully decreased this percentage from 50 to 1.5%. And how we do it, and because by doing so, this dramatically increased not just our profit, but also the capability of the whole society. And this is what we want to help our partners globally to achieve.
Okay, thank you. And Sean?
Yes, from investors' perspective, we are not there to judge or to tell which company is going to be successful, but we are very humble to learn the local knowledge, the markets, pretty much everything, the culture. Then what we can bring to the market is our expertise in China in terms of business model, how we perceive business fundamentally. and we would like to see ourselves as the thought partners, right, to any startups in Latam. We often talk to our portfolio companies that because of the time difference, right? If you have a problem, you're struggling, send us an email, right? We think about it, and when you wake up, you may have some insights that you can work on. So that's kind of the the message I'm trying to convey here. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you all. We're investing in the
Thank you.
time of the next panel. Really appreciate it for the lessons, and let's change the title, Copy from China to Cooperate with Asia. Okay, thank you, and I would like to invite Lucas for our next panel. Let's take a picture.